And let's give it a crank. Woo, baby, there we go. Hi there, this is Ray with Easy Simple Mechanic, and today we're gonna work on this 1972 Ford F-100 XLT. It has beautiful body on it, no damage whatsoever, no rust. So this will be an interesting project. The truck has been sitting. I bought it from an old used car lot that went out of business years ago, but the individual that had the car lot had it sit and urged him to sell it. It was one of the vehicles that was left in the car lot. So we're gonna try and get it going. So let's take a look and see if we can't get this thing running. Okay, so let's do a walk around on this truck. As you guys can see, it has beautiful body lines and everything is really straight. No body damage, no rust on the quarters. The hood is perfect. The cab is perfect. You know, you just don't find these trucks in this kind of shape. But you guys have seen me use the tailgate on some of my other projects just to kind of as a workbench, but you can see this truck is clean when it comes to the outside of the truck. So what I want to do is I have a little project in mind, but first I want to see what this truck has, whether it runs or not. So let's open up the inside. Now I've tried to protect the inside as much as I can, so I put these shades in it, and you know, I've had it for sitting around for some time, several years, but I've tried to protect the interior by putting towels and shades and what have you on it. You know, it still has a good seat on it. You can see here, now it did look like they put a little patch panel on the bottom here, so there might be some, yeah, they put a little panel right here, so it might have started getting some rust, but that's just a little panel they throw over the top. The rest of it doesn't look so bad. That's where they usually rust. But as you can see, it's got AC in it. Can see that there. So we might be able to get that going. It's got the little side rails there. It looks like the original radio is gone. It had an aftermarket put in it. But I think I have an original radio off of my other F-100. It looks like it had trailer brakes. So we got that going for us. Now it has 3 tanks. So I'm not even going to dare try and use any of the fuel from the tanks. I'm just gonna go ahead and go without them, and then later on, once we figure out what we're gonna do, we'll clean out the tanks or get rid of them and replace them or whatever we're gonna do. But yeah, this needs all new seals. All the gaskets here are wore out or gone. But yeah, nice little truck. Look at that. You just don't find trucks made like that anymore. Okay, under the hood, we have this, looks like a 360 or 390. Yeah, let's see if we can't blow some of this stuff out and start getting after it. We're just gonna try and get some of this stuff blown out of here, some of these cobwebs and dust and dirt and what have you. Says that plastic bags, Walmart bags, are not biodegradable. The first thing I like to do is take stock of what we have, just looking around, doing a visual. And what we can see is this looks like it looks like almost a brand new starter solenoid on it. So that, I mean, everything looks so darn clean, like this thing just sat there at the dealer for so long. It might have been a pretty decent vehicle, because you look at the alternator, still looks new. Even the belts look like they hadn't had much use on them. It's got what looks like an old distributor, and obviously, you know, being at a dealer, it looks like they tried to touch up some of the blue with spray paint to make it look good. It's got that 2-barrel carburetor. It's got the external resistor coil on it. Here's a return spring for the carburetor that's unhooked. Okay, so first things first, let's look at the oil. Ooh, it has oil and it looks clean. The oil looks really clean, so that's a good sign. I don't see any milkshake or anything in the oil of the pan. Let's pull this. I doubt there's any water in here. And as we look in there, I can't see any water in there. I don't know if you guys saw any. I didn't. Okay, so we know it doesn't have any water in it. Power steering. You can see the power steering pump right there. So that's good. Now it doesn't have a power brake booster. It's got just the standard. Well, first of all, let's see if it's gonna have any spark. So let's get a battery in this thing and we'll check and see if we've got spark. If we've got spark, then we can see if it'll light off. So let's go see if it'll turn over. I'm gonna give it a shot, and then if it cranks over, then we'll check for spark. The beauty of these Fords, one of the beauties of them that I really enjoy, is with this external solenoid, you don't have to get down there on the starter to see if everything is cool. You can just take and jumper the start from the hot on the battery to the starter solenoid right here. So you can just put a screwdriver across it. Wow, that sounds pretty good. So it's cranking over. So let's just crank it over for a bit before we decide to put some starting fluid in there, and just make sure we try and pick up some oil pressure. Okay, spark. Oh, now we need to check for spark. Now, one of the things that we may need to do is we may need to jumper the switch, because I don't know if my ignition switch is any good. Because when I come into here and I crank this, it does nothing. So, see there? Do we have any lights? Let's see. Yeah. So my ignition switch doesn't seem to have any power going to it. Okay, so what we did is we just jumpered straight over to the resistor there that goes to that coil, and we jumpered it straight over to the hot wire, and we have our coil wire pulled off so we can see if we get a spark. So let's jumper this solenoid and see if we can get a spark. you can see there is a spark there. So now let's plug this back in, and then we'll see if we can get a spark out of the, well, that one's too short. Well, maybe not. Let's just see if we can get a spark to come out of there. Okay, so I connected this old spark plug on the end of that plug wire, and now we'll go ahead and hit this solenoid again and see if we get a spark across the spark plug. Looks like there is a spark in there. So let's now we can go ahead, and there should be plenty of oil up in the cylinders now. We'll spray a little bit of carb cleaner in there. Okay, so let's try this here, and we'll see what happens. There's some starting fluid. Let's hook up our ignition. And let's give it a crank. Woo, baby, there we go. So that's gonna start. Well, we got a runner. I'm not sure this carburetor's any good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a carburetor from another truck I have, and we'll get back to this truck and see if we can't get it running with that other carburetor that I know it was working, at least when I parked it. This one here, I have no idea. So let me pull this carburetor off. When we get the other one from over there, we'll install it. We're here to get this carburetor. So let's see if we can't get this carburetor off of here. Okay, so we took the 4 bolts off, took the carburetor off. So now we can get it back home. Now there's a few differences on these carburetors. So we're gonna have to figure something out. But amongst the differences, first of all, this distributor doesn't have the vacuum advance, so I don't need the carburetor advance. So the two are blocked off here on this carburetor. I blocked them off, and I got rid of that spaghetti of vacuum lines that were in the back over there. And then I'm gonna install the one that was on this truck had the studs with the nuts on there, but I found it just easier to put it with the bolts that I took off the carburetor on the other one. You know, because then I don't have to worry about dropping the nuts on the carburetor. The other thing is the choke on the newer version, the 77 had both. It had a choke pull off that it was electric and comes from heat from the manifold. So this one has both. The other one only had the one coming from the manifold. We'll hook that one up, but if we need to later on, we might need to hook up that electric wire. Right now it's summer, so the choke is all the way off. It's been hot. The other thing is the return springs. Well, first of all, the throttle here is different. This one does not have the attachment for the rod that'll pull on the throttle. Okay, so as the pedal gets pushed, this is supposed to push this way. On this one, it just has this little ball, which I think was a pull situation. So I don't know how I'm gonna rig that up, but we'll figure it out. So I blocked off the inlet for now on the fuel, and I'm just pouring some fuel into the bowl through here, and we'll fill up the bowl. Let's see if we can't, we already got our jumper to our ignition. Let's see if we can't get this thing to start. Wanted to run all the gas out of the bowl, and so it looks like it did that. Other than that, it sounds pretty healthy actually. So we probably need to change the oil. I need to figure out a permanent fuel system and a delivery for the throttle pedal. Figure that out. And then we'll figure out if it is going to be able to drive, if it's going to have any kind of transmission. Of course, we'll have to put some radiator fluid in there, some water, once we get that set up, because you know, we just ran it for a little bit. I know where the exhaust leak is. I didn't hook up the little choke pull off for the carburetor that goes right there. So I'll have to hook that up to get that exhaust quieted down. But anyway, it runs. Good deal. Well, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Please stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe. Let your friends know. And please check out some of the other videos that are around here somewhere. Thanks for watching.